Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Intern Podcast. Today we have Isaac Tsang here to share his experience as a notary intern at Ravenscroft Schmierer. Thank you for being here today, Isaac. To start off, could you give a brief introduction about yourself and your background?
My name is Isaac, and I am currently a third year law student at Queen's Faculty of Law. That's in Canada. And during the summer, I was able to be a legal and notary intern at Ravenscroft Schmierer and had a great time there.
So, given your background as a law student, I'm curious about what specifically attracted you to join Ravenscroft and Schmier as a notary intern. Was there something specific about the firm or notary work itself that drew you in?
I don't think it was specifically anything about notary, but more so during the interview process, we were talking about how at Ravenscroft Schmierer, interns get to do a lot of different roles and do a lot of different tasks. And sort of the idea of having a dynamic workplace and being able to participate in sort of all aspects of the firm, I think I found that really attractive to me. And that's, I think, what drew me in.
Yeah, for sure. I think Ravenscroft and Schmier really embraces a very collaborative work environment between the interns and the lawyers. Like their open door policy really enables the interns to go just ask for help from the lawyers, and it is a really nice work environment. So speaking of the application process, could you provide insight into the application process and what it was like for you and how you ended up getting the legal and notary intern role?
Hmm. I think it's really important to do your research on Ravenscroft and Schmierer. There's a lot of emphasis in terms of understanding the firm and really getting to understand the firm culture prior to getting into your first interview, if you do get that. And as well, I found the sort of, so during the process, I think you do a short video interview where you record yourself for maybe 2-3 minutes. And I think it's really important that you are able to showcase your personality, who you are, and maybe highlight some of your abilities within this short video. I think that's something that I put a lot of effort into, and I think that's why I got my interview. And during the interview, I just recommend students to really just be themselves, act natural, just stay calm. Um, the interview itself was quite conversational. It was with Robin, and we chatted quite a bit, and we had a good time. And I think, yeah, just being able to get along and work in a team environment, I think those were some of the skills that I was able to, I feel like, showcase during my interview, and that's what got me in.
I definitely agree with you. Like Ravenscroft and Schmier has a very unique approach in terms of the application process into the internship. Like I think they emphasize a lot into getting to know you as a person, and it is a lot more personal through the video and the interview. They really try to get to know your personality compared to other firms, and I think that is the kind of the selling point of interning at Ravenscroft and Schmier. It's they try to get to know you a lot, and you also in turn get to know a lot about the firm before you start. So just shift the focus into notary work specifically. So a lot of students who are aspiring lawyers tend to pursue careers that are more traditional, like barristers or solicitors. So notary is, even though it is really important, it is a lot less emphasized in the law school curriculum and career discussions, which makes the pathway into being a notary a lot less common compared to roles like litigation and corporate law. So for people who are not really familiar with what a notary is, can you kind of explain what it is and what their primary responsibilities are?
Okay, so I won't pretend to be an absolute expert on this front, but from my understanding and my time at the firm is that the main duties of a notary public is to verify identities of signatories and verify the authenticity of certain documents. We're making sure that people who are signing the documents are doing so willingly and fully understand the contents of the documents. So I think notaries really play a crucial role in preventing fraud and ensuring, potential legality of documents and facilitating a lot of different transactions from occurring through this.
So since David Ravenscroft is the notary public at Ravenscroft and Schmier, so do you typically just work directly under him? Like, could you walk us through a typical day of what you do at the firm during your internship?
I think my day-to-day can be pretty different because during my time at RNS, I didn't just do notary stuff. I also had my hand doing some legal stuff as well and some anti-money laundering regulation related work. So it really depended on what work was most urgent. And even on David's end, in terms of the notary work, it would really depend on what sort of client file we had. So for instance, if we had let's say we had a corporation as a client, that would make the issue a little bit more complicated because of Hong Kong's anti-money laundering regulations. In that sense, we would have to do a little bit more due diligence before providing the notary service. And I think I was able to help out a lot and assist a lot on that front and be able to work with the client, ensure that, hey, we have the documents in order, we're getting the documents that we need, and really trying to match up with, the timeline that the client potentially has. And if it's on the individual front, it's a lot easier. The list of documents that we would require is a lot less stringent. So in that sense, those go more swiftly. So I think the day-to-day is really different depending on what sort of client we have. And even just, I've given you like sort of two categories, right? Individuals and corporations. And even for corporations, you have all sorts of different types of companies, and the due diligence for all sorts of different types of companies would be completely different. So I think my day-to-day is usually really exciting because it's very, very different each day.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. As you said, like even though you are primarily doing notary work under David, it is still really good that you still have an opportunity to help do other legal work and also AML work, which is very important here at Ravenscroft and Schmierer. So, have you encountered any like specific challenges during your internship that you had to like learn and like overcome?
I think one of the specific challenges that come with being a notary intern is that David has, at least during my time there, he had a massive volume of clients where a lot of times maybe we had 10, 15 files that are ongoing, not necessarily fully active, but they're still ongoing where we're certainly sometimes waiting for certain applications to go through, waiting on certain documents. So just being organized and keeping track of all these moving parts, I think that was one of the biggest challenges for me because in school, you don't get this many moving parts. No, it's nothing that comes close to, I guess, 15, 20 files, all with their, I guess, unique and distinct circumstances. So I think just being able to maybe, for me, having a really clean notebook, really clean Word documents where I take notes in, I think just being able to utilize different resources to stay on top of that process and not miss the details and not miss deadlines and not forget about certain client work that I need to do. I think that was a really, really big learning curve for me.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you were able to navigate through these challenges and learn so much from your internship here. So, to finish off today's episode, since you already finished your internship, so this is more of like a retrospective of your experience. So, what were your favorite things about being a notary intern at Ravenscroft and Schmierer?
I think there are a couple of things. One of them is working with David. David's very, very knowledgeable about different areas of law, and he's very willing to impart the experience that he has onto you and really provide learning opportunities for you to really get hands-on experience. He's very, very patient and is very willing to teach. I think that's David made my experience incredible at Ravenscroft and Schmierer. And another thing is sort of the diversity of clients. I mentioned before that with notary work, high volume of clients, and in that case, you also have a high diversity of clients because of just how many clients you have, different types of corporations, different people who come from different walks of life who need different sorts of services, different notary services, but the documents that we're looking at and the context might be slightly different. So the diversity of clients, I think that makes each day very interesting. One of the other thing is that I think being a notary intern and working with David, you get a lot of client interactions because just for a notary, you have to physically, a lot of times you have to physically see the document itself or see the document being signed. So in that case, you're always going to be able to, you're almost always going to be able to meet your client and be able to sit down, chat with them, and really be able to work with them. And in that sense, I think that's a very unique experience that a lot of different areas of law might not be able to offer. And not just the physical meetings, but even just being able to talk with the client on the phone, being able to email with the client correspondence, client interactions, and managing the client expectations. I think that's a huge skill that I could pick up here, and I don't think I would be able to pick this up as well working in a different area of law. And I think I have a very, especially in notary, you get a very concrete and visible impact on the files that you're working on, because it's not just abstract numbers or abstract high level theory, but you're making a very visible and concrete difference in sort of facilitating these transactions and making sure that these documents are very much authenticated and processed properly.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you had such a positive and enriching experience interning at the firm this summer. And yeah, that concludes today's episode. Thank you again for sharing, Isaac, and stay tuned for more episodes in the future.